Back with another album review. Today's review is on Post Traumatic by Mike Shinoda. It's Mike's debut album, and it's the first album that he worked on since the untimely death of Chester Bennington. Mike has worked on material outside of Linkin Park before, if Fort Minor is anything to go by. Speaking of which, my previous review was on The Rising Tide. Anyways, this album was self-produced since Mike produced it by himself. The album was produced by, it was mixed by Manny Marquin, Serban Gania, and Jason Joshua. Mike helped with the mixing on some of the songs. Also, Serban has previously worked with Mike on the Linkin Park album One More Light, which I reviewed last week. The album was recorded between August of 2017 and January of 2018 at the Stock Room and the Village. It was released on June 15th, 2018 on Machine Shop Records and Warner Records. Similar to The Rising Tide, the album is mostly focused on alternative hip-hop with some focus on rap rock, albeit with the more downbeat tone because of what Mike was going through at the time. Also, Mike did most of the instrumentals by himself, though some of the songs had additional musicians involved. Almost every song received a music video, and I'll include a link to a playlist consisting of the videos. Doing this in order to simplify things rather than overcomplicate everything like Floridians tend to do. Anyways, let's talk about the songs. This album starts with Place to Start. What's awesome is that the song features percussion by Rob Bowerdon, who is best known for being the drummer for Linkin Park. I believe the song was about where Mike plans to start since the loss of his friend Chester. This is a good song, and we're only getting started. Next song is Over Again. After that is Watching As I Fall. It's a song that I can easily relate to because of the loss of my mom back in August. And I'm also going to mention that this is my favorite song from the album. I followed up with Nothing Makes Sense Anymore. I find the song to be very relatable because I felt like things weren't making any sense since my mom passed away. And Mike was going through the same shit after losing Chester in 2017. It's followed up by About You. It should be noted that the song features Black Bear, I'm not familiar with his work. The song was co-produced by Jordan Braze and Aaron Harmon. Up next is Brooding. The song stands out as being the only one on this album that's fully instrumental. Next up is Promises I Can't Keep. I can relate to the song because there are some promises that I've made in the past I wasn't able to keep. One in particular was the promise to get my mom something special for her birthday, but I can't because she passed away tragically young last month. What comes next is Crossing a Line. The song was released as a single on April 3rd, 2018. That's followed up by Hold It Together. It blitzes about Mike trying to hold it together since losing Chester. It's something I can relate to because I've been struggling to hold it together after losing my mom. Even after the funeral, I still haven't been able to stop grieving. We followed up with Ghosts. Next up is Make It Up As I Go, which was released as a single on August 28th, 2018. What I should mention is that the song features K.Flay, even though I've never heard of her prior to listening to this album. Up next is Lift Off. What's awesome is that Chino Marino is featured on this song. Unfortunately, Machine Gun Kelly has to ruin everything by also being featured. It's a deal breaker when MGK is featured on a song considering his narcissism and the fact he's done a lot of stupid shit. I'm not going to go into detail about that because the YouTube channel Rocked has that covered. I'm going to link his video in the description. At least Chino Marino is one of the only redeeming qualities of the song. It was also co-produced by Andrew Dawson. After that is IOU. What comes next is Running From My Shadow. The song features Grandson. Honestly, I'm not familiar with his work, though it was co-produced by Kevin Hissink. Next song is World's on Fire. Let me clarify, this is not a cover of the song by The Prodigy because the lyrics are completely different. This album ends with Can't Hear You Now. I should mention that the color, vinyl, and digital versions of this album contain 2 bonus tracks, Prove You Wrong and What the World's Meant. Yeah, as you can see, neither of those songs are on this version. From what I read, is that this album peaked at number 16 on the US Billboard 200, and number 1 on both the US Top Alternative Albums and US Top Rock Albums. It was also received very well from critics with a 73 on Metacritic. And as to my opinion, I think this is a very good album. Some of the songs on are very relatable, considering the fact this album has a darker, sadder, more downbeat tone than The Rising Tide. On top of that, I think it's even better than that album. I recommend checking out this album despite the fact this is probably my most personal review. Now is the part where I question you. Have you listened to Post Traumatic? If so, what do you think about it? What's your favorite song from it? What other artists do you think Mike Shinoda could have worked with instead of Machine Gun Kelly? Let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to press the notification bell to be notified of future videos. Thanks for watching. I'll be back soon with another review.